everybody, and welcome to another Nephilim Builds. It's Pride Month and we're celebrating by making various LGBTQIA+ characters in media because fuck the entire right wing. Today we're gonna fight for a better world as the Midnighter and Apollo from Wildstorm comics. As always, keep in mind that these videos are about capturing the spirit of the character rather than capturing their abilities perfectly. With that said, let's address the obvious. In case you'd never heard of these two, because I certainly hadn't, these two handsome gentlemen are both gay and married to each other, which is honestly crazy and not in the way you think. You see, I'm not exactly big into superheroes, but I know enough to know that relationships in comics rarely last. Either they break up due to superhero drama, or because one of them cheated, or sometimes because one of them died. And if we're talking Marvel or DC, then there's probably been a few reboots and retcons screwing up ships you've been waiting forever for. Here's to you, Raven and Beast Boy. So the fact that Midnighter and Apollo have not only stood the test of time, but the literal destruction and rebirth of their universe and then getting retconned into DC's prime Earth after Flashpoint is nothing short of amazing. Also, I'm just gonna say what we're all thinking. These two are someone's super bad fanfiction and that's awesome. Now with all that said, we'll start with the easy option, Apollo. Using the standard pointer array with the 15 to Charisma, Apollo's been team leader a few times. After that's the 14 Constitution, the man is damn near immortal. Up next to the 13 Dexterity, he's not exactly wearing plate here. We'll put the 12 into Intelligence and then the 10 to Wisdom. Lastly, we'll dump Strength, we won't need it. For species, we're going to go with human. He might be a Superman clone, but he's not an alien, just bioengineered. We'll get resourceful, pick Athletics, and take the Tough Feat. We'll make a custom background putting our increases into Charisma and Dexterity. We'll take Perception and Survival, Painter Supplies for giggles, and the Spellfire Spark Feat. Moving on to class, we're going to go with Sorcerer. We'll get Charisma and Constitution saving throws, pick Arcana and Persuasion for skills, and be proficient with simple weapons. At level 1, we'll get Innate Sorcery and 4 cantrips taking Firebolt, Sorcerous Burst, Elementalism, and Light. We'll also get 2 spells taking Mage Armor for AC and Spellfire Flare. Solar Power means we're going for a mix of fire and radiant damage. Guess which subclass we're using? At level 2, we'll get Font of Magic and Meta Magic taking Empowered Spell and Quicken Spell. We'll also take Chromatic Orb and Featherfall because Wet is fall damage. At level 3, we get our Sorceress Origin taking Spellfire Sorcery for Spellfire Burst. We'll also get Cure Wounds, Guiding Bolt, Lesser Restoration, and Scorching Ray from our Origin. We'll also take Enhance Ability for Superhuman Feats as well as Alter Self. The fact that Bludgeoning is a damage option means it's easier than ever to make a punchy mage. At level 4, we'll take the Spellfire Adept feat rounding Charisma. We'll also take Blade Ward to fill the slot and Blindness Deafness for a flashbang. At level 5, we'll get Sorceress Restoration as well as Aura of Vitality and Dispel Magic, ignore the second. We'll also take Fireball and Fly. At level 6, we'll get Absorb Spells and take Daylight. At level 7, we'll get Sorcery Incarnate as well as Wall of Fire and Fire Shield from our Origin. We actually get to use the fire option for once. Too bad we can't do the Agathi's Icy Hot. I am making that a personal life goal now. We'll also take Spellfire Storm. At level 8, we'll take the Elemental Adept Fire feat, bumping Charisma, and take Protection from Energy for resistances. At level 9, we'll get Greater Restoration and Flame Strike from our Origin. We'll also take Immolation and Sungul's Elemental Suffusion. At level 10, we'll take Twin Spell and Distance Spell. We'll also take Prestidigitation for effects as well as Haste. We'll get a Flight Speed option that we can stack with this later. At level 11, we'll take Sunbeam. When was the last time we got to Kamehameha, bitch? At level 12, we'll raise a Constitution, and at level 13, we'll take Symbol Sinasa Dwemer. At level 14, we'll get Honed Spellfire, at level 15, we'll take Sunburst, and at level 16, we'll raise Constitution again. Can we beat Iceman's numbers? Let's find out. At level 17, we'll take Heightened and Careful Spell as well as Tasha's Otherworldly Guise. We now have 3 different options for flight, and we're about to get a 4th. At level 18, we'll get Crown of Spellfire. Not only is this that 4th flight option, it also gives us some more durability. We'll also take Elminster's Effulgent Spheres. At level 19, we'll take the boon of Exquisite Radiance capping Charisma. We'll also take Firestorm. Lastly, at level 20, we'll get Arcane Apotheosis and take Delayed Blast Fireball. Now that we're level 20, we finally have our modifiers. Our AC with Mage Armor is 15, our Rune Speed is 30, and our average HP is 202 with 20 d6 hit dice. Oh hey, same as Bobby. Not as good AC though. But this handsome ball of sunshine wouldn't be complete without his Dark Knight and inky trench coat. Using the standard pointer array, put the 15 to Strength, the 14 to Constitution, and then the 13 into Intelligence. On the spectrum of Batman to Knuckle Duster, this guy is somewhere in the middle. We'll put the 12 into Dexterity for AC, and then the 10 to Wisdom for enhanced senses. Lastly, we'll dump Charisma. We don't need it, and these Batman types tend to have poor social skills outside of Intimidation. For species, we're still human, though also still heavily enhanced. Like, the man can apparently survive in the vacuum of space for short periods. Hell, apparently he doesn't need to use the bathroom. Low-key kind of jealous of that. Anyway, we'll get resourceful and the tough feat again and take intimidation. We'll make a custom background for your increases into strength and intelligence. We'll take investigation and insight, painter supplies for more giggles, and the savage attacker feat. I would take alert, but apparently his precognition can be beaten if his opponent doesn't make the first move. Moving on to class, we're going to start off as a fighter. We get strength and constitution saving throws, take athletics and perception for skills, and be proficient with all weapons, armor, and shields. At level 1, we get second wind in our fighting style, taking unarmed fighting. He'll also take weapon mastery, which we'll ignore. Sure, he's apparently good with old-timey weapons, but he primarily fights bare-handed. And as I said back when I made Knuckle Duster, punching people is the point. We're now going to multiclass to wizard. Trust me, I'm about to cook. At level 1, we'll get Ritual Adept and Arcane Recovery, as well as 3 cantrips. We'll take Blade Ward and Friends to fill the slots, and Light for a flashlight. We'll also get 4 spells, taking Long Strider for speed, Jump to jump good, Expeditious Retreat to book it, and Comprehend languages. I know we haven't covered languages since changing to the new character sheet, but he's apparently multilingual. At level 2, we'll get Scholar, Expertise in Investigation. We'll also draw a blank. At level 3, we'll get Arcane Tradition, taking Blade Singer. We'll get Blade Song and Training in War and Song, picking Acrobatics. Now with Precognition, you might have expected Diviner, but the flavor of Blade Singer works better. Apparently he sees all possible outcomes to a fight, picks the one he wants, and works backwards to figure out how to make that outcome happen. That's using his intelligence to improve his combat ability, which we reflect by adding our int mod to our AC. Anyway, we'll also get enhance ability for superhuman feats and swap our blank for Elminster's Illusion. This is a good filler spell. I wish more than just wizards got it. Yes, I know he's the wizard, but still. At level 4, we'll take the Crusher feat, Rounding Strength. We'll also take Message for some comms and Arcane Vigor. His enhancements include a healing factor, so chalking this up to magic seems fair. We're now going to multiclass to Barbarian. Believe it or not, multiclassing Barbarian with a spellcaster is actually pretty viable. The trick is to stack concentration-free spells and features before raging, and as we learned with Bobby, there's plenty to go around. At level 1, we'll get Rage and Unarmored Defense, and level 2, we'll get Danger Sense and Reckless Attack. Oh hey, more precog. At level 3, we'll get Primal Knowledge, taking Survival. We'll also get our Primal Path, taking the Path of the Berserker for Frenzy. I used to avoid this subclass like the plague, and now I can't remember the last time I used a different one. Back to Fighter, at level 2, we'll get Action Surge and Tactical Mind, and level 3, we'll get our Martial Archetype. We're going to go with Battlemaster, taking Cooking Supplies. I can't prove it, but Midnighter feels like the domestic husband. We'll also get Superiority Dice in our maneuvers, picking Trip, Pushing, and Menacing Attack. At level 4, we'll raise our Constitution, at level 5, we'll get Extra Attack and Tactical Shift, and at level 6, we'll raise our Intelligence. At level 7, we'll get Know Your Enemy, another Superiority Die, and 2 more maneuvers. We'll specifically take Commanding Presence and Tactical Assessment. At level 8, we'll raise our Intelligence. Either this or Constitution will improve our AC, but I'd rather have an extra use of Blade Song than 20 extra HP. We'll have plenty of that anyway. At level 9, we'll get Indomitable and Tactical Master. Both are accurate descriptions of this man. At level 10, we'll get D10 Superiority Dice and 2 more maneuvers, taking Riposte and Evasive Footwork. At level 11, we'll get another extra attack. Lastly, at Fighter and Barbarians level 12 and 4, we'll take the boons of Combat Prowess and Fortitude, capping Strength. Now that we're level 20, we finally have our modifiers. Our AC with Unarmored Defense is 14, which becomes 18 with Blade Song. Our bonus speed is 30, and our average HP is 260 with 4d6, 4d12, and 12d10 hit dice. And with that, we are done. Now what can these boys do? To start, we're a solid blaster-bruiser combo. Apollo is blasting away with tons of fire and radiant damage that ignore resistance. He's also got several flying options to burn through, so he almost never has to touch the ground, and he can full-on nuke a bitch with a maxed-out sunburst once a day. Meanwhile, Midnighter is a bruiser with tons of melee damage and control. He can also suss out an enemy's weakness and has some useful skills for outside combat. Both are also incredibly durable with good AC, tons of HP, and healing. For weaknesses, Midnighter has no ranged or magical damage, and he's prone to banishment. Meanwhile, Apollo has multiple concentration spells, with 3 of them serving the same purpose that a subclass feature covers. Fire immunity is also still a thing, and that makes up more than half of his arsenal. They also both have limited class resources that aren't spell slots, so they're bad. Weaknesses aside, together these two can literally outlast the universe. Thank you everybody so much for watching. If you'd like to support my channel, there's a link to my Patreon down in the description. Patrons get 2-day early access to my videos, access to exclusive content, and access to my Discord. All tiers are equal, pay as much as you want. Let me know what you thought of this video down in the comments, and I'll see you all next time when I make Roxy Rector from Scott Pilgrim.